folks, got another Camaro update for you. Worked on this thing today. Got most of this thing done here in the back finally. So got all of this off with the soda blaster with aluminum oxide and grinding wheels, etc. So we've got all of this cleaned out here, done. Found one thing two things interesting back here. Number one, there's a hole here which is not on the other side. I don't know if that's a rust hole or a drain hole there, but this one looks like it's been brazed, which is different than the other side. I cleaned off all of the seam sealer and stuff where there's that side's all nice and clean, but this side has this stuff going on. So I wonder if this trunk hinge was replaced here. And if this is a hole there, this looks a little rusty back up in here too. So I'm wondering if I need to take this thing out and do this. So anybody else that's got a Camaro out there, if you could let me know on that one. Took the DA to this stuff back here. So this is all set. Cleaned up the jams. That's done. Got these guys done here. Now for those of you who didn't see the first video where I talked about the roof on this thing, this is a big question for me, what to do with this roof here. As you can see, it's really rusty, really pitted. You can get a good look here and you can see, there's big grooves in it and stuff, so it's a little funky. But it's not rusted through, and the metal's, it's good and solid. So, when I see something like this, I think, oh, that's no good, I gotta replace that. But, a bunch of people said, I don't know if you need to replace that or not. It's not rusted anywhere along in here, it's all clean. So, the thing that scares me about this stuff is up in here. Hang on, let me go get the flashlight. There we go. So up in here, you can see this stuff's all rusted up in here. This is just surface rust again. But up inside these things is more rust. But it's only right in those little spots there. So if you look at, I got a good shot, like up in here. There's rust right there. So basically anywhere where this thing's exposed from the bottom, there's rust. But if you look around further, like up in here, there's no rust. So I think up under that stuff there, it possibly might not be rusted. But it's a little scary because I can't see under there. So I'm worried that the underside of this thing's all rusted and I just can't tell. But, when I look up inside these various spots, I don't really see any rust extending beyond. So I think it might be okay. So I'd love you guys' thoughts on that, because it is pretty munched, as you can see here, but it doesn't go through, so I think it might be okay. So there's that. Then also I think the question now, as far as the top of the car goes, this is left. Then really just the front here. I haven't done anything with the firewall yet. I've got to get around to that. But all of the rest of the sheet metal on the car basically done, stripped on the outside. As I mentioned before, I was thinking might be an opportunity or a good time to get this thing into primer. And various folks have said, yeah, don't worry about that, because there's a little bit of surface rust and stuff happening here, but it's not dramatic, so maybe I don't need to worry about that right now. But if you guys were working on this car right now, what would you attack next? I know this quarter panel over here, as I've said before, I've got to replace the quarter panel on this side because it's really thrashed, but I don't want to do that when the car is on the rotisserie. Don't think that's a good idea because I want to be able to get the doors on it and line everything up and do that work. So I don't want to go into the quarter panel yet. There is other stuff to be done here though. As you can see, there's a big hole in the trunk pan here. So I've ordered a new trunk pan. That should be here this week. and I ordered new floor pans as well. So I was thinking of going ahead and putting those in while the car is still on the rotisserie, and then switching over to cleaning up the underside of the car and cleaning this up in here. I wasn't planning on stripping all of this. I was just going to clean it up. I guess that's another question, is whether you would take all this seam sealer off and stuff. The metal looks fine up in there, so I don't know if I need to take all of that off. There's no rust or anything in most of this stuff up in here. Just the pans themselves are toast, of course, but the rest of it's not, so I wasn't thinking of stripping all of that down, but who knows. The package tray in the back, I have a new package tray for this because they cut that whole section out there. So there's a bunch of stuff that I can do sheet metal wise, and would be best to do while it's still on the rotisserie. So I want to, I think, do that next. And then the question is just basically, do I just leave the whole car bare metal until all that's done, and then when all of that's done, then prime it? Or get this stuff primed, since this is ready for body work here, you know, this stuff over here. So I can start doing Bondo and all that stuff, pulling dents anytime. So I know there's a lot of questions in there, but you guys are great about answering questions, so I love that. Thank you very much. This is kind of the biggest one right now, is what to do with this dog. Leave it or junk it, I don't know. And then the other big one, like I said, prime it now, prime it later. The rainy season's probably over here for California, so we may not be getting any more rain, so I may not have to worry about it rusting very much, since I made it through the whole winter without any serious rust. Anyhow, thank you very much in advance for any suggestions you guys have. It's much appreciated. I wouldn't be able to get this stuff done without all your help. It's very, very much appreciated. Oh, reminds me, one other thing here. My new compressor has a leak. This pipe here, which is the one that goes down into the tank, is all loose and sloppy. I can't see it here, but it moves. So I don't know what kind of seal that thing is supposed to have, but whatever it is, it doesn't seal. And so what happens is, under low pressure, it's fine, nothing happens. But as the tank fills up, and especially when it gets up to cutoff, it just runs and runs and runs, because then there's a lot of air coming out this thing right here. This thing says on-site service, so, and I just bought it a couple of months ago, so I'm guessing I can just call Cobalt and have them fix it, or not quite sure what to do there. But I took this thing off, and there wasn't really anything I could do there. I think it's missing a compression fitting or something. I'm not sure what the story is there. Anyhow, it's working great other than that, so if I can get that fixed, I'll be a very happy man. All right, thanks again, everybody. Take it easy, and talk to you soon.